Hey guys, welcome to Apex Nerd, where we get to talk about Marvel, DC, and related comic news and events. Today, I'll be bringing you some very interesting news concerning Spider-Man and his involvement with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as well as a possible cameo of Daredevil in the third Spider-Man installment. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We will be giving away an Amazon gift card. To enter, you just need to be subscribed and to leave a comment down below on what you might think happened in the next Spider-Man movie. We got information on the Sonyverse and MCU in the form of news concerning Tom Holland reportedly being in talks for a contract extension for 6 more movies, which is an amazing news generating lots of excitement for Spider-Man fans. On a lighter note, those of you expecting a younger Spider-Man and in turn a younger and prettier Aunt May would probably be disappointed, as we are going to be seeing Tom Holland as Spider-Man for the foreseeable future if the reports are true. And also, the second big news for the day is the possible entry of Daredevil into the next Spider-Man movie. All of these and lots more are coming up in this video. Do stick around, and as you do, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click on the notification bell to get more videos. So now, down to our first big news for the day. We have some updates concerning Tom Holland reportedly in talks concerning a contract extension for 6 more movies. Now, it would be interesting for you to know that the next 6 movies would include the next Spider-Man trilogy. That is Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6, and of course 3 other Spider-Man movies, which would be Spider-Man appearances in movies involving other Marvel characters in the MCU and the Avengers. I know some of you guys are wondering why we are talking about the next trilogy. The first trilogy is almost coming to an end. Spider-Man 1 and 2, as we know, has been released, and Spider-Man 3 is on the way, with production delayed till later this year as part of a former 6-movie contract signed by Tom Holland. Now, the major buzz concerning this contract extension is due to the fact that there is a shared deal between Sony and Marvel for the Spider-Man character. Now, as mentioned earlier, the first contract, which was signed by Tom Holland, was also a 6-movie contract, and in 2016, Tom Holland told The Hollywood Reporter that he was contracted to appear in 3 Marvel movies and 3 Spider-Man solo movies, which leaves the sequel to Spider-Man 2, Far From Home, remaining from the previous contract. He said in the report, "I am unclear as to which movies though. I do know I have 3 Spider-Man movies and 3 solo movies contracted." Backing up a little bit, in 2015, Tom Holland, then 19, was shot into stardom when he was cast as Peter Parker just 4 months after Marvel and Sony announces their deal to share the character's rights of Spider-Man and enabling Marvel to integrate the character into MCU. Especially after the poor critical and box office performance of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, leading to the 3rd iteration of Spider-Man and making Tom Holland the 3rd Spider-Man actor following Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. The following year, Tom Holland made his appearance in Captain America Civil War as his debut in the MCU before going on to star in Spider-Man Homecoming, its sequel Far From Home, as well as appearing in the Avengers Infinity War, where he shared in perhaps one of the most emotionally devastating scenes and returned in Avengers Endgame in time to bid farewell to Tony Stark. So far, the agreement between Sony and Marvel paid off for both sides, with Marvel getting to integrate the Spider-Man in the MCU, while Sony making commercial success with Spider-Man 2, going on to surpass the movie Skyfall as Sony's Pictures' highest grossing film ever, passing the $1 billion mark. In spite of this, the agreement appeared to unravel in August 2019, and a month later, Sony and Marvel Studios renegotiated their deal to share the Spider-Man character between the MCU and Sony's standalone Marvel-based films. Following the renegotiation, it is Sony's hope that they could see the characters in their own universe, which they call the SUMC, which means the Sony Universe of Marvel characters in the MCU. This development was echoed by a statement made by Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige on negotiating the deal with Sony, saying, "I am thrilled that Spidey's journey in the MCU will continue, and I and all of us at Marvel Studios are very excited that we get to keep working on it." Spider-Man is a very powerful icon and hero whose story crosses all ages and audiences around the globe. He also happens to be the only hero with the superpower to cross cinematic universes. So as Sony continues to develop their own Spideyverse, you never know what surprises the future might hold. Cheeky and teasing, you might say. So with this shared deal with Marvel Studios, as well as the formation of the SUMC, it is Sony's expectation that one day we'll see characters like Venom and Morbius, which are currently in Sony's own universe in the MCU. This possible crossover and connection were made even more likely when Tyrese Gibson, who plays Simon Stroud, an FBI agent tasked with hunting down Morbius in the upcoming Spider-Man spin-off Morbius, was reported to have told Charlie Cox that his contract includes future MCU appearance, and in addition to that report, Tyrese Gibson teased fans when he released an Instagram video that includes the hashtags MCU and crossover. While this doesn't confirm anything, It does, however, increase the possibility of seeing characters like Morbius and Venom in the MCU, especially with the new 6-movie contract that was signed by Tom Holland for the Spider-Man character, and as we mentioned earlier, it is a sharing deal between Sony and Marvel, so we won't be surprised to see a crossover of characters from Sony's SUMC to Marvel's MCU. However this may turn out to be, it does make for exciting times with many speculating that this new deal would give room for the Spider-Man to take over from Iron Man and develop into the tech-savvy guy, as well as getting to see Spider-Man live out his adult years. So let us know what your thoughts are about Tom Holland's new contract extension, as well as the possible crossover of characters from the SUMC to the MCU with the characters Morbius, the Venom, and View in the comment section below. Moving on. Our second big story for the day is the speculation that Daredevil could feature in the third Spider-Man movie, which is the sequel to Far From Home. Great times indeed, Spider-Man fans. Now this speculation is mainly due to the fact that Marvel is due to get the rights back to Daredevil later this year, and as well as a delay in the production of Spider-Man 3, plus several comments concerning the appearances of Daredevil in the next Spider-Man movie. All of these and more we are going to get into right away. So the movie series Daredevil entered development late into 2013, a year after the film rights to the character reverted to Marvel from 20th Century Fox, allowing the character to be used in the MCU with Charlie Cox, starring as Matt Murdock, who doubles up as the Daredevil. However, Netflix canceled the series after 3 seasons in 2018, and it was rumored that it was a possibility that Disney Plus could revive the series. Earlier this year, Kevin Smith shared on his Fat Man Beyond podcast that he'd heard of rumors that the third Spider-Man movie will see Charlie Cox reprise his role as Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil. This got Marvel fans excited, despite no evidence of a source for the news, but in a twist, such hopes were squashed when Cox himself responded saying, "I hadn't heard those rumors, but it's certainly not with my Daredevil. I'm not involved in it." He, however, went further to say, "But I love the idea of Jessica and Matt showing up in the background, where Matt, as a lawyer, advising Peter Parker, that would be really cool." So while Cox may not return, or the Daredevil movie may not be seen for now since its cancellation on Netflix, it doesn't mean Spider-Man 3 can't feature the Daredevil. As a matter of fact, it makes sense that the movie could be used to bring the Daredevil into the MCU proper and giving the last scenes of the Spider-Man Far From Home movie, especially with the problems now facing Spider-Man with its identity being revealed and also being framed for the destruction caused by Mysterio. Spider-Man could require the help of fellow superhero lawyer Matt Murdock, as he could find himself in a legal battle as well as fighting off bad guys. Again, Spider-Man and the Daredevil actually have shared history in the Marvel Comics, regularly teaming up for stories, so it won't be a case of placing two characters without an interaction before. It is more likely that if the third Spider-Man would feature the character Daredevil, then Marvel would recast the role, and according to comicbook.com, Charlie Cox responded to the recasting rumors saying, "You know, why not? And they do it with Spider-Man all the time. I keep consuming that stuff because I love it." So with the delays to production of Spider-Man 3 and Marvel getting the right back to Daredevil later this year, 2 years after its cancellation in November 2018, the setting is welcoming and encouraging to see the Daredevil featured in Spider-Man 3 and enter the MCU proper. So this just leaves a whole lot of exciting prospects, as the Daredevil featuring in Spider-Man 3 making his appearance in the MCU could possibly lead to seeing other characters as well in the MCU, like those seen in The Defenders. The Defenders premiered on Netflix in 2017 and included the Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. So the Daredevil appearing in Spider-Man 3, and by extension, the MCU could as well pave the way for these affiliated characters that make up the Defenders in the MCU as well. So now all these are all possibilities and rumors and nothing confirmed yet, but it sure is an exciting prospect to see the Daredevil teaming up with Spider-Man in Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 is expected to be released on November 5th, 2021. So as production kicks off, more news and updates will definitely become available and we'll be here to bring them to you. So guys, just let me know what you think about seeing the Daredevil in Spider-Man 3 and what is the future implication and prospect as regards the MCU in the comments section below. Please like this video and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on upcoming videos with news and updates. Till I come your way next time, stay cool.